Today on One, lockdown of central towns extended for another 5 days. Health Ministry misinforms mourners on family members' cause of death. Disinfection of public transport campaign kicks off. And Nara primary learners return to school in style.
All 14 regions of the country will now be under Stage 3 of the state of emergency, but movement restrictions for the 3 local authorities that are Windhoek, Okahanja and Rehoboth has been extended for another 5 days. Curfew hours are now to start from 2200 hours to 5 o'clock in the morning. COVID-19 cases now stand at nearly 10,000 countrywide. As confirmed daily infections continue to decline, President Jacob announced at the 17th public briefing that movement restrictions in epicenter areas has been extended for another 5 days.
The current moderate precautionary measures under Stage 3 of the state of the emergency, which are set to lapse at midnight on Sunday, will be extended to all 14 regions of the country for an additional 5 days.
Public gatherings have been increased from just 5 people to 50. Despite this, Jacob urged Namibians to avoid large gatherings and to remain home. Health Minister Kalumbi Shangola said the government has made progress in curbing the backlog of test results.
We should be able to clear the backlog within the next few days. Thereafter, going forward, COVID-19 results will be released within a period of 24 hours. This is an important breakthrough in our response and preparedness. With respect to matters of quarantine and isolation, the pivot of our policy measures to allow for home quarantine and home isolation where conditions allow. This has provided relief to those who chose and were able to effectively quarantine and isolate safely at home. As a result, we have seen a significant reduction in the number of persons quarantined and isolated in commercial facilities, such as hotels, guest houses, and lodges. This is a positive development from the perspective of cost saving by government.
Contact sports will not be permitted, but sit-ins at restaurants will be allowed. The selling of alcohol will continue on a takeaway basis.
It's me time. Time to love your skin. With Bramley's range of scented tissue oils. Buy any 3 for just 50. Why pay more? Life's better with Pep.
Family of a well-known pastor who passed away 2 weeks ago were caught by surprise when they were informed by the Ministry of Health and Social Services on the day of burial that the pastor's death is COVID-19 related. The family claims that they were not informed by the ministry upon his death, questioning why the ministry went against their own guidelines by waiting 2 weeks before informing the family or bury the deceased. The COVID-19 burial guidelines stipulate that people dying of COVID-19 should be buried within 72 hours.
Speaking not with necessary authority, but they want to bury him as a COVID case. What happened to 72 hours? That is the question. I don't have any problem with 10 people gathering or going into the cemetery. But I have a problem with keeping the COVID case for almost 2 weeks. Why? Is it true that it's a COVID case? And why didn't they swab the body and confirm whether it's a COVID case?
The ministry was not reaching out to the family. It is only, from the side of the family when they called that they were being told that this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen, and so on. But it was not really forthcoming, from the ministry to say that these are the guidelines, these are the procedures that needs to be followed, and so on. Yeah, so we, the family, went to see, the Ministry of Health.
A group of family members and friends arrived at the Pioneers Park Cemetery early in the morning to bid farewell to the pastor, but to their surprise, they were locked out of the cemetery by the security guards.
We are told because of the COVID restrictions, we are unable to bury him in the way we would. We were prepared to maintain the social distancing, and also, as you can see my mask, I'm only pulling it down because of breathing, so that as I talk. But we are prepared to follow all the other restrictions. But we just feel that for a man of his caliber to be buried, it must be done with respect. This will affect the children, this will affect the whole nation, especially because of his position.
Avul Gavaseb was the president of the association. We describe him as a legend, an icon, and a man that worked in the community to change the life of so many Namibians. He was also a man who tried and breached the different churches, bring them together as one body in Christ. He worked in so many areas countrywide. You will find him this week in the north, and in the other week again in the other part of the country.
After waiting until the afternoon, a group escorting the deceased arrived and managed to enter the cemetery. Today on One spoke to one of the family members who said that all they want is for the late pastor to be buried in a dignified manner.
I would really want to have a normal funeral. I know because of this COVID-19 there's regulations, but on behalf of the family, we would really love to have a normal funeral here, because it was a big pastor. It's not anybody's person. It is a president of the Charismatic churches, and he was an icon legend for serving the Namibian people and churches. So that's why, on behalf of the family, we would love to have a normal funeral for him.
Friends are requesting the Namibian government to revisit the state of emergency regulations on how many people should be allowed at the burial and make it more accommodating.
Supplementary registration of voters for the Regional Council and Local Authority elections 2020 is here. The Electoral Commission of Namibia is calling on Namibian citizens who are 18 years or older and who are not registered as voters to register from the 7th to the 15th of September 2020. To register, you should provide proof of identity, age, and Namibian citizenship by providing one or a combination of the following documents: new or old Namibian identity document, or valid green Namibian passport, or Namibian citizenship certificate and sworn statements by 2 registered deponents, or a Namibian or a birth certificate of any other country and a sworn statement under oath affirming Namibian citizenship, as well as statements under oath by 2 registered deponents, or valid Namibian driver's license and a Namibian birth certificate, or a birth certificate of any other country and a sworn statement under oath affirming Namibian citizenship. All registered voters who have moved from one constituency to another, lost or damaged their voters' cards, or persons who have changed their surname are advised to register. Please go register to vote. Your vote counts.
Launched under the theme Corona Must Fall, 1 passenger per taxi per day saves many lives, the initiative to disinfect all taxis and buses in the capital is part of efforts to combat the spread of COVID-19. The campaign was initiated by Element Medical Suppliers CC in partnership with the Namibia Bus and Taxi Association and endorsed by the Ministry of Health and Social Services. At the launch, the governor of the Commerce region complimented stakeholders for the initiative, further urging Windhoek residents to be inquisitive on the hygiene of public transport and only board those that have been disinfected in order to avoid coming in contact with the virus.
Corona must fall. one passenger per taxi per day saves lives. By my understanding of one passenger per day does not mean that you only take one trip, as if you are allowed only to transport one person, but rather to say price of disinfection, which is 14 Namibian dollar, is equivalent to the 14 Namibian dollar that the taxis are charging per passenger. Hence we are saying, paid at $14, you would have saved more life, but only by paying for one passenger. I think that must be understood. We continue to urge everyone to comply with our travel and the state of emergency regulation and the health and hygiene protocols. With the launch of this disinfection service, it is advisable for the public to use disinfected taxis and buses and make it a priority to ask that taxi driver if he has disinfected the taxi. We are not terrorizing anybody, but we are looking at the health and the safety of the Namibian nation. When your passenger is asking you whether you disinfected, I don't think that person is wrong in any way. But that person is by all means trying to be safe within your hand and your taxi. And remember, the moment that individual has taken a ride in your taxi, it means that individual is ready to pay you and to have a ride with you.
The mayor of the city of Windhoek applauded the campaign, saying that her office welcomes any initiative geared towards protecting the residents from contracting the virus.
We know that members of the Namibia Bus and Taxi Association operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As the drivers ferry residents around the city, passengers become prone to contract the virus, a situation which has become worrisome. As of the 12th September 2020, the national COVID-19 cases were standing at 9,108, with 93 deaths and 4,640 recoveries. We know that the cases are on the rise on a daily basis, but we also know that at least God is hearing our prayers. Cases are also reducing and death cases are also reducing, so we thank God for that.
The campaign was launched at the Vernal Park taxi rank, from which it will be rolled out to other towns in the country. Taxis and buses will from now on be disinfected from Mondays to Saturdays at all 23 disinfection points in the capital. Thus, public transport drivers and owners in Windhoek are urged to register their taxis.
In the Irongo region, learners from the Ngara Primary School in Walfish Bay were treated to a huge surprise by Hungry Lion and Tuna Core fishing companies.
My name is Sela Shimi. I would like to thank all the donors and sponsors for sponsoring us with all these, the masks and the food and also the sanitizers and the washing bucket. I pray that God will bless them and keep on donating for others.
My name is Marius Ganasep. I'm the deputy head boy of Ngara Primary School. I just wanted to say thank you for the people who brought us the sanitizers.
Grade 7 learners of the Nara Primary School were happy to return to school after spending more than 5 months away from school due to the recent spikes in COVID-19 cases in the Irongo region. Upon their return, Hungry Lion donated over 1,000 face masks, including meals for over 300 learners, 50 liters of hand sanitizers, 1 tipi tap and 2 water basins, while Tunako Fisheries donated 20 water stations. During the event, the Irongo Education Director acknowledged the efforts made to ensure that learners return to a safe learning environment and extended her appreciation for the support received from the private sector.
There is a saying that goes, or a statement, that education is everyone's business, or it takes a village to educate children, and in this case, one can see that it takes the whole of Irongo region to educate our learners and to contribute to the education of our learners. The Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture accepted the concept of Friends in Education some time back. In short, we are saying fancy. And we've urged you, my dear colleagues from Hungry Lion and Tunakor, we cannot make it in education. We have contributed masks and funds to the schools for masks and also cleaning material, but we are running out of that. And every time we have to see where we can get funds to contribute to the schools to get sanitizers. Rightfully, a comment made by the principal this morning that it's better to have the basins where they can use water and soap rather than sanitizers because it's becoming too expensive. We appreciate your demonstration this morning through the friendship of donations of different items as mentioned by various colleagues this morning, and you are still doing that during this time of tough times.
Irongo Regional Governor Neville Andre delivered a message read by his personal assistant where he applauded the private sector for being instrumental in the battle against COVID-19.
It is therefore very enthralling to see that despite the current economic challenges due to COVID-19, the private sector still responds positively and complements government's efforts to provide relief to many of the learners who comes from very low income households and the informal settlements. It was equally through the support and collaboration with the private sector that we could contain the virus. As I said already, to 0 cases as on Tuesday this week. So we are very happy for the private sector's contribution to the cause. The virus will still be for us for some time, but we need to keep our schools safe by washing hands and sanitize, clean and disinfect door handles, desks, and other touch surfaces.
The learners were also treated to an entertaining performance of the Jerusalema Dance Challenge by their teachers.
We always love to hear from you. Send us your views, comments, and videos with your name and town to the One Africa TV's WhatsApp on 081 200 6659 or send an SMS to 555. One Africa TV, it just gets better. In other leading stories, Palms for Life Fund has donated 250,000 bars of soap to aid Namibia's efforts to reduce the spread of the COVID-19 virus. The soap recently arrived in Namibia and is being allocated to affected and at-risk communities through a coordinated effort by the Office of the Vice President, the Division for Marginalized Communities, Minister of Gender Equality, Poverty, Eradication and Social Welfare, and the United Nations Children's Fund. The soap is set to be distributed over the coming weeks to towns and villages identified as being most in need of resources to curb the spread of COVID-19. The first shipment of 6,240 bars of soap was collected by the Minister of Health and Social Services Environmental Health Practitioner in Tumkwe, Mr. Tara Shapange, and Assistant Project Coordinator for Tucson, Mr. Leon Samkhao. Tumkwe has experienced 2 confirmed cases of COVID-19 among the San community, and testing is ongoing in the area. Palms for Life Fund, a New York-based foundation, works in partnership with the government and communities to strengthen the quality of early childhood development services for San communities. The first ECD center was built in Ochinene and inaugurated in November 2019. This was the first of many more ECD centers that PFL will build in marginalized communities, mainly San areas of Namibia, in the coming years. The health workers also received a private donation of high-quality washable masks for communities in Tumkwe, which was matched by the Palms for Life Fund, giving a total of 300 masks as well as materials for the community sewing group to make 200 more. And the Finnish Han Honor was awarded to Ms. Karen Leroux, founding director of Omba Arts Trust. With Han, Finnish embassies around the world have given recognition to individuals doing exemplary work in promoting equality and inclusivity in their countries. Leroux received the honor to celebrate her long-standing work in advancing inclusivity and equality through the development of sustainable livelihoods for marginalized communities. Omba Arts Trust supports artists and craftspeople in rural Namibia by selling and marketing their unique works. Leroux is a pioneer in developing, marketing and researching the craft sector in Namibia. Her important work has benefited thousands of Namibians, especially in rural areas, over the past 30 years.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of local comments from the hottest social media pages.
McHenry Vanani, president of the Popular Democratic Movement, has accused the SWAPO party of using undocumented residents from southern Angola who have no Namibian national documents but are in possession of Namibian voting cards to vote for the ruling party during elections. Nikki says if Vanani's statement is true, it should be the ECN's responsibility to answer, not the SWAPO party. Moses says these allegations must be properly investigated. Christophilia says politics is a dirty game. Morgan says people should stop being issued with voter cards without Namibian identification. And Peters states that Vanani is a brilliant individual, noting that his accusations must be accompanied by evidence and not hearsay.
And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day, only on Today and One.
This week on It's a Wrap.
It is clear the regime has failed us. That is why we are sitting with missing 24 millions today. So with that, the opposition should be able to sit around to say, are we combating corruption within an institution like the municipality?
And that also includes taking, if necessary, taking the ECN to court. We have already written a letter to the EC and to raise some of those issues that we want to have electoral reform. For example, why is it that you declare a day of voting a public holiday, but you don't declare a public holiday on voters' registration?
I'm a physiotherapist. Life, as we know, has changed and physical interaction is limited. Exercise is more important than ever. Exercise to improve your lung function. At home, stay safe.
Win a share of 20,000 Namibian dollars. SMS the word VIBE to 10010 and stand a chance to win 2,000 Namibian dollars with the Ink Like a Vibe show. Watch the show on One Africa TV, channel 284 on DSTV, and channel 90 on GoTV every Sunday at 1800 hours.
A look at the weather forecast. First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met office. Fresh to strong winds are expected over the interior. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and hot in the south, otherwise sunny and hot but very hot in places in the north. The coast partly cloudy and warm to hot, and the wind fresh northeasterly to southwesterly. Now we look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
On the Gold Coast of West Africa lies the peaceful and diverse nation of Ghana. I'm pretty close right now to the geographical center of the Earth. It is also one of the last pockets for elephants in the wilds of West Africa.
Every country in the world just about has cattle, sheep, goats, horses, donkeys, but it's only Africa that has the real megafauna, the charismatic stuff which people in the rest of the world want to see.
The passion that the staff have for the job.
There's value to a bird which brings birders to a place like this. I mean, this is a birding paradise. We see an intrinsic appreciation and joy from seeing the wildlife out here, but not everybody does.
You can't get to Moli and then will not be passionate about what we do, because you'll be the only one left. Everybody is passionate.
The only worthwhile war, the war against destruction, the war against loss, the war for peace, for balance, for inclusion.
Just out of my way, buffaloes, elephants, tigers, attributes are still in existence.
If money fails, then Ghana is without wildlife.
Join me as we journey to the untamed wilderness of northern Ghana to meet these last defenders.
The people within the law enforcement agencies don't really know you're talking about roan antelope, somebody thinks it's just like a goat.